All right, welcome to today's Laugh and Learn Blab. Back in Colorado after visiting Austin for South by Southwest, and I'm so glad. It's wonderful to be home. And today we're talking about how to do social media and how to handle online reviews in specifics, which is something that impacts all of us, whether you're a end user, or a business owner. We all are impacted by online reviews. And today is hopefully going to help facilitate some empowerment on the part of business owners as well as end users for how to actually do online reviews and how to manage those. I'm very excited about today. I love talking about this topic because I feel like a lot of people get really intimidated by online reviews. So I was going to open with a few examples, a couple examples of how these things actually work in real time. And again, consider the fact that I am a relatively social person. My company is called Really Social, so actually I'm really social. But I am social. Yes, Erin, I am quite the social being. So I am always kind of looking, especially if we're going out, you know, whether my husband and I as a couple or as a family, or if I'm out with friends, we're trying to figure out where to go. I will immerse in online reviews. So I have a little story I'd like to share with you called Anniversary Cheesecake. So a few years ago, my husband and I dropped the kids off and we were going to get some anniversary dinner. We actually went to Pete's Kitchen because that's where we went for one of the first times that we ate out together when we were dating. After we were done with our meal, we decided that we wanted cheesecake, but we were not inclined to go to the Cheesecake Factory. No reason. We'd like, you know, it's fine. We wanted to go somewhere, like, let's try somewhere new. Surely someone in this town of Denver has good cheesecake. So I got on an online review site and was like, well, let's find somewhere where it has gotten a ton of stars for their cheesecake. So we looked around, we found one, which unfortunately led us to a place that was actually just a distribution house. It wasn't even a walk-in or anything. So there's no way to get cheesecake at that location. The next location was a 25-minute drive to Arvada. We were in downtown Denver. Pete's Kitchen is located on Colfax. And we, at that point, were so craving good cheesecake. We're like, we're fine, let's go do this. So we followed some reviews that led us to Cheesecake Therapy in Arvada, which to this day is probably the best cheesecake I've ever eaten. They're excellent. Go visit them. They have little bite-sized cheesecakes, single serving. So it's like a 3 or maybe 4 bite little piece of cheesecake. Fantastic. 13 flavors at least. It was wonderful. So in that instance, reviews took us to a wonderful place and we were satisfied and we got what we wanted strictly by reading reviews. We had never heard of this place before. Another instance I'd like to talk about has to do with one of my friends, David Napoli. He is Biff Brews on Twitter, and he and I used to work together. He's really into data. And he texted me one time, or tweeted at me rather, when I was back in Denver and he was on vacation, and he tweeted at me, he's like, so guess where I'm eating right now? I said, I have no clue. And he said, I am at a place that you reviewed in Glenwood Springs, and I'm eating there. And I was instantly like, Juicy Lucy's, I know it. And that was where he was. I had reviewed Juicy Lucy's 3 years prior and loved it. Juicy Lucy's Steakhouse in Glenwood Springs we go there every single time. It's wonderful. I've yet to have a bad experience there. They have a big top patio and everything. It's gorgeous. But David had gone there with his family because he was Googling a place to eat in Glenwood Springs. And up in the results on that first page came the result of Juicy Lucy's. And I'm actually going to try this drop in for the first time ever and see if this works. Okay, that's great. Let's see if it'll work. It's loading it hopefully. But he was looking for somewhere, and I actually am going to be trying to load the search term for Juicy Lucy's on Google. If it lets me. Let me do it. It's not letting me, of course. There it goes. Yeah, great. So I don't know if that'll take you to the Juicy Lucy site, but yeah, just an example that he was looking for somewhere to eat. They were passing through Glenwood Springs. They Googled, and through some reviews, one of which was mine, they found Juicy Lucy's Steakhouse. Those are just 2 stories that I can relate to you. Hi, Amy, and I see some of my girls in here. 2 stories that I personally relate to that are completely anecdotal, but they are about the power of reviews. You can leave reviews or you can use reviews to find businesses and leave your opinions about them. Reviews are insanely important. And I know, social sister high five. That's right. And girls, you always have carte blanche if you guys ever want to hop in and chat. So let me know if you guys want to call in. If you do, I will let you in. But essentially, I want to talk today about how to use reviews. First of all, I don't want anyone to be freaked out by reviews. They can be a freaky thing because you are essentially relying on these external forces that are going to somehow have a play on how successful you are as a business. And again, there are, with humanity being out there, that is something outside of our control. So that can be a very scary, uncertain thing for businesses. But today I hope that we can empower you to take control of that and really create opportunities out of online reviews. So let's dive in. What I want to talk about first is the fact that online reviews happen to be a very important thing. So 67% of purchasers base their purchase decisions on online reviews. And as I just shared, I found the best cheesecake ever because I solely went on reviews and wanted to figure out if that was going to work for me, and it did. And I had fantastic cheesecake as a result. I also stayed away from anywhere that had negative reviews. I'm like, they're not getting rated that high, so I'm going to steer clear. So that's one thing I want to talk about is that if you have 67% of purchasers basing their decision on online reviews, that's 2 out of 3 of your shoppers, okay? 2 out of 3 of your potential customers that are going to look and see what other people have said about your company in order to patronize your business. Let me just see. I'm trying to drop in links again. Let's see if this works. There we go. And I'm getting these sources from the Moz blog, and this is actually from late last year, so hopefully those stats are still relatively fresh. Additionally, more than half of the respondents surveyed, 54.7%, admitted that online reviews figure into a purchaser's decision. So perhaps they're not solely going off of the review, okay? But they are letting it figure in. They're probably looking at, okay, well, what do you have? Do you have price? You have good quality products? Where are you located? But also, what are people saying about you that have already worked with you in the past? So the online review is figuring into people's decisions. Also, nearly 97% of consumers read online reviews. I'm just going to put that there too. I think that's important to take away. Even if they aren't using them or acting on them, they're reading them. They're reading input put out by other people, okay? They are caring about what other shoppers and consumers are thinking about what you're putting out. So you need to be cognizant of that. If you've got reviews going online out there about you, they're getting read, okay? 97% of consumers. That leaves a very, thank you. And Melody, that's exactly right. Very tiny percentage of people aren't reading the reviews. I mean, maybe they are just going off a name brand, be like, well, I've always trusted Delta, or I've always trusted, and I'm just pulling things out of the air. I've always flown Delta, or I've always stayed at Hilton, or I've always gone to see movies at Regal Cinemas. Whatever. Maybe they're just very used to that brand. But guys, it's going more and more away from that, where online reviews, we are very much crowdsourcing this approval system of how businesses are conducting and succeeding. So, reviews are a little bit important. I am going to share this, and also this infographic I found too, which has a ton of good stats of why these are important, and talking about why a business should care, and even why consumers could care about reviews and see how important they are and how much they figure into a business. So I'm getting this drop in. I love this thing. So yeah, getting more customer reviews. You do want them, by the way. You want customers to review you unless you're just so scared of failure that you'd rather not see them out there. So, but yeah, absolutely. And I think that we've seen the proliferation of so many review sites that are out there that facilitate people leaving reviews, that we see that we recognize this is a big thing. Failure is not an option. That's right. So let's talk a little bit about where people are reviewing you, or where we consumers are reviewing your business, okay? First of all, we have Facebook. So Facebook has reviews. Now, let's think about this. Facebook is probably one of the top, if not the top, the big elephant, the grand poobah of online use. the link I just posted, and I'll post it in the side as well, will take you to the support page for Facebook reviews. It talks about how to leave reviews, how to gauge reviews, how to work with reviews. Essentially, Facebook allows what is very standard, a 5-star system. So anyone can go on a Facebook page and indicate, that they had a service from that page, and they can give it a 1 to a 5-star review. Not only do you assign it a star value, but you also comment at will about your experience. And essentially what that happens is then that aggregates into your complete score of stars. And those reviews are posted chronologically in the review section of your Facebook. So that is one place where people can review your page, and actually review your business rather, if you have a Facebook page. And again, since so many consumers are already on Facebook, it makes sense to have a Facebook page, particularly if you're a business to consumer, to customer business, to have a Facebook page and make sure reviews are enabled. Okay, because sometimes people are looking for that. Well, I want to go review on Facebook. You should have that enabled, unless, again, you're so scared of failure that you're not going to allow it. So very much recommend to make those public. And we can talk a little bit about that if you're nervous. Google reviews. So Google is another place, and Amy is a big Google lady, so I know. So Amy, let me know if you want to hop in, because I know you've got thoughts on this. Google is another place where, and I actually included Yelp reviews in there too. That's coming. Teaser for the future. Google reviews. If you Google any place and they have reviews present, or even a place on Facebook and Google Maps, if you Google them, you should see a pop-up on the right side of your screen when you Google them that shows their title and also how many stars they've received if they've been reviewed. Very easy to see instantly what the rating of that business or place has. And then you can easily go in and also leave a Google review yourself. Again, works with a 5-star system. I'm going to take a drink of water because I'm very dry. 5-star system, and you can comment at will, and those are public, okay? And they create that aggregate score that your business or place has in order to have a Google. Yes. And Amy pointed out, very good point. You would have to have a Google for Business set up to show up on the map, which you want. And in a moment, I am going to share links that will allow you to go claim your pages. We're going to get there. Right now, just again, focusing on why the reviews are important, that people are out there looking to be heard. If people have had an experience at your place of business, they're going to try to go let somebody know. Sometimes too, because that may be a way that they can get customer service. They might feel like it's a little more advantageous to do it publicly online, because guess what? These reviews are 100% public, okay? Can be searched and usually will show up in search results. Next one up, and this is a bit of a controversial one, Yelp. Yelp reviews. Yelp is a site that it seems like it's been for reviews, but it has really kind of turned also into a search engine. Yeah. Yelp is a big one where people will actually, you can register on that site and it's free. And you can go on. There are many actually parts of that platform. There are message boards and things like that. But people can go on and they will review a business and again, leave a comment. You're able to try to edit information, like it'll ask you questions saying, does this place have public Wi-Fi? Is it good for parties and large groups? Is it good for kids? Does it take reservations? So it allows you to give all that kind of feedback. Yelp is also interesting in that you can, if I go to Yelp and I don't see a business that I have just patronized, that I've just been to, I can add them. Okay, I can add that location, that business to Yelp and leave my review. So once that business is added, it can be found. And then people, oh, great, I was there too. I was at that cheesecake place. I was there too. I will go ahead and review it as well. So please know that while some of these platforms may not have a place for you to review them until you create it, others don't need you there. They can start generating and collecting reviews without your knowledge, which is, well, we're going to get to that, why it's important that you go in and be proactive and see where you are. So, and Yelp has a lot of controversy around it as well, because unlike Google, which is just going to show chronological reviews in order and show all of them, Facebook the same way, Yelp has a bit of an algorithm behind it. Ooh, I'll use that algorithm, icky word. But it does have algorithms behind it. I have that coming too, Amy. I love TripAdvisor. But Yelp has algorithms behind it, and some would say that it's also impacted by if a business decides to pay for advertising on Yelp, that possibly they get a more favorable algorithm that determines which reviews are shown or not. So that has a lot of controversy about it. You don't even have to Google very far to learn that a lot of businesses are not really happy with Yelp. But that doesn't mean it's not there. Unfortunately, it's a player in the game, and it's something we all have to be cognizant of. TripAdvisor is another one. I love TripAdvisor. I am not really privy to how much if they have an algorithm going or not, because I think most of the reviews I've seen on there are in chronological order based on, when a person, like if I'm looking at a hotel, when they stayed. I have been pretty prolific about reviewing on TripAdvisor versus Yelp anymore. Particularly in Europe, TripAdvisor is very widespread. Almost any place you go to is going to have a little TripAdvisor emblem on their door and ask you to leave a review. In Europe, particularly, so I do like TripAdvisor, and that is somewhere too that is a good place to go. And make sure you claim your business. Make sure that you can go on there and review, but also make sure you go on there and say, "Am I on here already?" So TripAdvisor is excellent. Let's talk about one that some people may not know about. Did you know that you can actually review a place that you've worked? So Glassdoor is a place where employees, current or past, can review an employer or a place of business where they've worked and been employed. So when you do that, it's free to register. You're able to go find the business, and you can also create the business if it's not yet created. And as a former employee or a current one, you can go in and it'll ask you some generic questions and leaves much of it optional. Just saying, okay, well, you don't have to be specific about your title or what you made or, but we want to know when you worked there and stuff like that. And then the employee can review the employer and, tell people, yes, pros and cons. How did they rate on the CEO scale? Was the CEO cool? So it gives you a lot like a restaurant review might be like, is this a good place to, for a startup career, or is this a good place for here? But you're able to review employers. So that's one thing that's out there that, again, some companies may not be aware of, that if you employ people, you may have a way for them to leave a review about you. That will impact if you're able to recruit people. Yes. Well, and we'll get to that too, because with all reviewers, since we're dealing with humanity at large, we are dealing also with the spectrum of honesty. And if people are actually leaving accurate reviews and such like that. So for sure, that is definitely something to keep in mind, that you might get a review and it might be false. One last thing to talk about, these aren't necessarily reviews, but they are business related and they are geographically related or based. But Foursquare is where people can still check in via their mobile phone and say that they're somewhere. Not hugely prevalently used nowadays, but people can leave tips for other visitors on there saying, okay, well, if you go, make sure you order this kind of wine, or make sure you sit in so-and-so section because they're a great waitress, or make sure you don't go before 7 p.m. because you won't get any parking, things like that. So not so much reviews again, but again, a feedback mechanism for sure to guide others as they're considering visiting that location. So those are the primary places where people can review. I'm sure there are others, particularly when it comes to smaller locales. They probably have ways and different little smaller platforms and websites. Plus, you've got the worldwide involvement of bloggers who are out there, being food critics, being location critics, and really giving you an idea as to what they think. I'm talking right now, though, about the primary places where you can review other sites and review other businesses and let people know what you think about them. So, again, the admonishment is here to not ignore the fact that you are probably getting reviewed right now if you are a business. And it doesn't matter the size. If you in any way have any outside dealings from outside your place of business, you could be getting reviewed. So it's incumbent upon you to make sure that you are checking, monitoring these sites. maybe you don't want to just get out there and create your page or claim your business and make that space where you could gather reviews. But at the very least, then you should be monitoring and making sure, seeing, is anyone else reviewing me already? Maybe they've created my spot in my space, and I now need to go and acknowledge that and start taking the reins. So some businesses do that, particularly startups. They don't really want to get in the review game until they have to, because it's extra work. It's another customer service vehicle. Okay. Yes, Googling your name. So for sure, I mean, you can set up Google alerts for yourself. You could just set a reminder each week to hop into each of these platforms: Foursquare, Yelp, TripAdvisor, Google, and Facebook, and things like that, and Glassdoor, and see, can I find myself? Can I find my business? If you can't, you're not there, and nothing's been created for you yet for you. Remember, some of these platforms let the reviewer create you. Okay. But I really do, I'm pro claiming your business. So let's talk about that. To claim your business, I'll kind of start from the end of where I started. So Foursquare, you can do this via desktop. So via my laptop on a browser, I don't have to be on mobile. You can go to Foursquare and find your business and claim it. And again, they'll walk you through a verification process, because usually these are brick and mortar or location-based places that someone can actually visit geographically, okay? So they will walk you through a process to say, well, we need to verify you actually are at this place. And it might be, okay, well, we're going to send a verification call to the main number. Is that you? And that, based on what their information is, or they'll try to, send something snail mail, say, okay, if we'll send you a code, once you get it in your mail, that's at this business and you can verify, then you can claim this business. Okay. Once you claim it, you're then able to have access and moderate and correct information, and make sure you're interacting. If there's a negative tip left of, oh, somebody, oh gosh, Amanda was the worst waitress ever, I hate her every time we go here, then you can be like, oh my gosh, thank you, we're going to look into that. And then you can go talk to Amanda and say, so what's going on? Why are we getting these tips and stuff like that? So Foursquare, that is how you can claim your business there. Yelp, I will post the link there too. To claim your business on Yelp, it's actually biz.yelp.com. So a little bit different. It's a subdomain of yelp.com. But you can get in there, sign in, and again, go through a verification process to say, yes, I actually am a manager of this business. I have the autonomy and the authority to manage our presence on Yelp. When you do that, you can then have access to be able to reply and respond to reviews. Until you do that, you can't. I mean, the worst thing you could do is try to go create a personal profile on Yelp, go try to find the people who are reviewing you, which you only get a first name and a last initial, and those might not even be accurate. And then try to go friend the person and create this whole rigmarole. No, don't do that. Go claim your business and be official and speak as your brand. Speak with confidence and go in and start interacting with those reviews. Okay, and you can do that via that link to claim your business on Yelp. Google, I have a really long link to share. And also Amy Skillen is on here too, and she's awesome at Google. And I know also we know one of our other social sisters, Michelle Hoagland at Top Hat Creative, is excellent at Google reviews. But essentially, if you want to go on Google and let's roll this thing out, let's get me on maps, and you should. You guys, Google is Google foo. Google is the big search engine most of us use. So you absolutely behooves you to get on Google. Thank you. Google is king. Yes. Get on Google and get your place solidified. Get your place on the map, so on Google Maps people can find you. Yes, it opens you up to reviews. That's okay. Would you rather not have customers coming to you on the chance they would generate some feedback for you and an experience? They could be blown away and give you some wonderful reviews. You want customers, so get on Google, and then at least you know then that reviews are part of this process, thankfully, to this wonderful blab going on. And then lastly, Facebook. So again, I'll post a link here about just how to claim your business. Now there are some unmanaged pages on Facebook where you may not have intentionally gone to create a Facebook page, but there's a page out there with your name on it anyway, with your business name. That link I shared tells you how to walk through claiming it. Yes, and nothing else, make sure no one else has claimed business on Google. It has, yes, that's happened. You don't want someone, not you, managing that stuff for you and speaking to your potential or existing customers without your jurisdiction. And I'm reading Aaron's comment here. Just saw this blog my buddy has mentioned in 50% DM Dude has mentioned in for Review Me Marketing, reputation management. This is entirely about that. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, because why would you not manage yourself? If you're in a crowded room and you can hear someone across the room talking smack about you, be like, oh my gosh, Erin, well, I heard that she was totally like this and she painted her house yellow. And Aaron's like, I did not. My house is blue. And Aaron, I don't know what color your house is. But you're going to go and try to fix it. Be like, actually, that's not accurate. My house is actually blue, And again, totally wacky example. But if you're in that conversation, you see that happening and you have the opportunity to correct information and do it in a nice way that could turn that conversation into a plus for you, why would you not do it? It is about reputation management, and it's about good PR and good communication and good service, guys. So much of this revolves around service, and we'll talk about that. That's one of the last things we're going to talk about today. So all of this to say that these are ways being used by your customers, potential and existing, to provide feedback to you, to let you know what an experience was. Now, all that to say, you are absolutely going to have reviewers who are in a really bad mood, or they're not accurate, or they're out to just cause you some issues because they decide they want to do that. And there are people out there who review. Maybe they have a friend who has a shop and it's competing with your shop, and they really want that shop to do well, and they might come on and leave, well, I'm going to leave a nasty review on your site so that people go to that one. It happens, okay? Not saying it's not ugly sometimes, but your best approach is positivity, authenticity. So I've got an acronym here to kind of talk about how to best manage this, and it's called, I want you to toe the line, TOE, want you to toe the line of managing your reviews. So T in toe is for transparency. I have run into so many businesses, and anyone who's worked with me in social media knows that my stance is that I will never delete a negative review. I don't believe in that, because in today's day and age where people can screenshot anything, and even if I could tweet something right now, realize it's a mess up and go delete it, take me about 8 seconds maybe. In that time, someone could have screenshotted my tweet. And the transparency factor of it is say, yes, okay, that happened and I need to own what happened. So transparency gets to owning what you're doing and owning the fact that you may not make everybody happy all the time. And again, human factor included in that as well, that you may get those people who are just not going to be made happy, or they may be nefarious and what have you. If they're vindictive, there's nothing you can do about that, but you can own what you're able to own. So do not ever delete a negative review ever, unless you have determined that it is completely non-factual. If you have proven like, okay, there's no way this person was at my business on that day because we were closed, or, and you can post that and then take the review down. That's okay. But for the best practice is to leave the negative review up. Do respond to every review, positive or negative. So I want you to think about it this way. Let's say that you call a press conference and you want to put out some tidbit about you're opening a new seasonal thing, a new seasonal product. So you call a press conference, but instead of calling a press conference somewhere inside your shop, you're going to call the press conference out on your sidewalk outside your business and start blasting, hey, this is what we're doing. Well, then you get an angry customer come up, say, they burst in and they start yelling at you because they're like, yeah, well, that last time I bought this, it was awful and it fell apart and you overcharged me. That's all happening outside your store. I need you to correlate that with what is happening in your review section. This is all fully public, fully searchable. So anytime you have a review, any response you post to that review is also public. And your response is just as important as that review, because that is your opportunity to shine forth, okay? And it may be you saying, we're so sorry you had that experience. We're going to go and research this so that we can make this right. Or maybe you saying, We realized this was a huge issue for you. You know, again, if it's a service where something went down and it was crucial, be like, we realized this is a huge issue and you were completely inconvenienced. We own that and we're going to make it better. Again, this is transparency and it's response. It's showing that you are taking the time to say, I hear you. You have a valid review, a valid comment, and we're going to respond to that because that we care about you as a customer, okay? Do respond to every positive and negative review. Positives are great to respond to because you're like, thanks, I'm so glad we made you happy. Let us know how we can continue. Also, a way you find your brand ambassadors are through the positive reviews. So keep that in mind. If you get in a bind, there are professionals out there who work in public relations who are more than happy to come in and be recruited by you to say, please come help. I am so stuck. I don't know what else to say. I'm saying everything wrong and I'm too scared to enter after I type a reply because I feel like it's going to go awry. Bring in the big guns. There are tons of PR consultants out there. I know I talked to one last week, Brenda Hill, who works in PR, and we have other people, not Amy, but Kimberly works on our Colorado Women in Social Media. We have resources for you to find a PR professional that can help you in those difficult times, because there may be times that arise that you are just underwater and you can't get out. Maybe you're working on all these operational issues that might have helped generate these negative reviews, but you still have to respond to those. Get help, okay? And any one of us on the Colorado Women in Social Media can help with that too and get you directed. So that's T for toe the line. The O in toe the line is for opportunity. Pardon me, dry throat. It's great to be back in dry weather though. I'm so excited. But opportunity. Every review is an opportunity for you. And please try to think of it that way. I loved it when we would get reviews, even the bad ones, because to me, it was always like, great, I have a way I can grow. This is something we can improve. And now we know about it. And so using your reviews as opportunities to improve your business are huge. And that's exactly how you should see them. Please don't see them as a way like, oh God, this is the quicksand we're going to fall into. If mismanaged, absolutely. But each review you get is an opportunity to be better. One thing you should do with your reviews, particularly if you're starting to get a few, track patterns. If you're starting to see the same comment over and over, or the same type of comment about a specific part of your service or your product or whatever, track that, because that will help you say, okay, something's falling apart here. We're getting more than one person who's saying the same thing. We need to backtrack, acknowledge them, say we obviously see this issue, but then backtrack and say, let's get to the root of that cause and say, what's happening here? Why is this happening repeatedly, and fix it. So reviews are invaluable in that arena to help you fix something that is broken and that your reviewers have helped you notice. You can also turn a really unhappy customer into your #1 fan. You do this through, again, that transparent approach. You reply, you're careful, you are attentive, you're respectful, you always take the high ground, which we're going to talk about with the E in a minute for toe the line. But you can turn that relationship around. They are angry in the moment and they want to vent. And if you let that just come at you and you're like, okay, that's legitimate, and then deal with that appropriately, and you might turn that person around to be one of your #1 ambassadors, because they'll say, you know what, I first had a bad experience, but they turned it around for me because they cared, and now I will never shop anywhere else, okay? And let those comments guide you to growth. Again, just see this as a growth opportunity for when you've got authentic, objective data out there. That's what these reviews are they're coming to you. I mean, you could pay tens of thousands of dollars to do a focus panel, or you could look at your reviews and say, what are my actual customers saying? The last, the E in toe the line of your Google of your reviews is empathy. So it's really easy for all of us to take utter pride, as we should, in our businesses. We're proud of what we do. We think we've done a stellar job. We are fantastic. We're riding high. And then we get a negative review. And we read the review and it doesn't make sense. It's like, well, I don't get it. I feel like we don't put forth that persona. Or I happen to know that staff person of mine is 100% pleasant all the time. This can't be accurate. Do not create a debate with this person online, with your online review. The last thing you want to do is read as though you're combative and that you don't believe what they said. That is the worst approach you can take, because then you're instantly delegitimizing their viewpoint. And guess what? Your other potential reviewers and customers are going to see that. They're going to be like, well, why do I even want to go to you? That person, that they said they had a bad experience, and you're just saying, no, you didn't. It's like, all right, well, great. I'm not going to go. I mean, how do I know you're not going to see my awful experience as well? This was just another day. It's fine. What's your problem? So it doesn't behoove you to do that. You need to come at them with empathy. Put their shoes, your feet in their shoes, and feel what they might have felt that day. They may have had a terrible day too, you guys. Maybe they were just caught in a rut and they didn't know what to do, and they were, just had a terrible day at work. Then they go to your business or take, use your service, and they're like, this is just the thing. And they go off. Okay. All right. Maybe that's the case. But if you're taking that high road and dealing with them with empathy, be like, okay, you're a human being. You had an experience. I want to dig deep and learn more about it. You're going to have a far better time dealing with your reviews. Okay. So that's pretty much the whole gist of today. Erin, I don't know if you want to hop in since you're on and come in and we can talk about reviews or about any experiences you've had with reviews, because I know you manage clients as well, with just dealing with those. And if anyone's got questions too, although it looks like it's just you and me right now. But really, reviews can feel scary, and if you know how to deal with them though, and you kind of start getting your feet under you, you can have success with them. And you need to, because 97% of consumers out there are reading them. So, all right. So I am not seeing anybody else in here right now, although this will be a great replay for reviews and stuff, but thanks for hanging out with me today. And I will have this posted on my website too, and we will continue talking. And then next week, it's 3 p.m. next Tuesday. I'm going to try part two, a reprise, if you will, of interviewing Valerie Morris with Tintero Creative, because we tried it. Oh, that's okay. Because we tried interviewing her last week and a few weeks ago, and Blab and my Wi-Fi and all the things went wrong the entire time. And she was infinitely patient. So we're going to have her on next week and finish that discussion, because, man, she was just telling me about tumbleweeds and cool things, and then it went totally crazy. So we're going to try it again and have her on. And then the following week, we're going to be talking to another Twitter friend of mine, Lucy, who's in PR. So that's all I got, and it was great to have you guys today. And if you are into watching another great Blab today, I'll send you over to Madeline Sklar at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. She does her Twitter Smarter Blab each week, so she should be on. I believe they're the same time today. She should be on, and she's awesome. So thank you, Erin, for hanging out with me, and for anyone else who tuned in, because I saw you guys come in. Hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys next Tuesday at 3.